So you all know Mario. He runs and jumps in game after game to get Peach's cake in more ways than one. The games have a story, but nobody really cares about it. It's all about the platforming and fast-paced gameplay that drew everyone in. The games even seamlessly transitioned into 3D during the era of every f***ing game making that transition. Mario has consistently put out quality games in its main series because they never changed the formula too much. Although sometimes to a fault. New Super Mario Bros. Sure, there are a few changes like new power-ups, worlds, or even the collectibles. But come on, shine sprites and stars are the exact same thing. You can't fool me, Miyamoto. But since Mario is one of the largest and most iconic video game characters of all time, it makes perfect sense for them to have a few spin-off titles. Some are incredible, and some I don't even want to look at. But one series of games that probably is the most popular and is my personal favorite is none other than Paper Mario. Like seriously, who the heck thought putting literal 2D characters in a 3D environment would work so well? The Paper Mario series has nothing to do with the quote-unquote normal Mario games. There's no emphasis on platforming, but instead the games have a turn-based battling style. The Mario and Luigi series of games also has this gameplay, but I don't know why, but I personally just prefer the Paper Mario games. It probably has to do with the different companions you get, honestly. Sorry Luigi, but you're just not as interesting as a fish that flops around, probably can't breathe, and actually how the f*** is sushi alive? Paper Mario stands out from the rest of the Mario games for the variety of characters that are nowhere to be seen in any other series. Boring enemies like Goombas actually have personalities, and there's actually character development with an actual story. The number of times I just said actually should give you a good idea of how rare this is in Mario. When do you ever get to talk to Boos? Or Koopas? Or fish? Again, how the f*** is sushi alive? The original was such a unique experience, and it definitely deserved a sequel, which we ended up getting with Thousand Year Door, which is one of my personal favorite games of all time. It brought the same game style back with a completely new world to explore and new characters and new items. They even introduced a brand new enemy with the X-Nauts, which I definitely prefer to Bowser because it's something different. Bowser is pretty much relegated to almost a comic relief character, which works so well for some damn reason. I want to make a video someday on how to make a perfect sequel game, and this right here is a perfect example. The franchise was stronger than ever, and everybody, including myself, wanted a third installment to the series, which we got with Super Paper Mario. Yeah, it wasn't what we were expecting. Instead of returning to the RPG gameplay, they turned Paper Mario into a platformer. Why? The entire point of the series was for it to be turn-based, so why did they make it into a 2D/3D platformer hybrid kind of game? And the characters just don't have the same emotion or variety that made the previous games so memorable. Flipside is just bland as hell compared to Rogueport, and even though Toad Town only had toads, they at least felt different from each other, while every fucking character here is the goddamn same! Now with that said, I still enjoyed this game as there are some incredible characters like Count Bleck and Dimencio, plus who wouldn't love playing as Peach, Bowser, and I guess Luigi. I don't love all the changes, but at the same time, it's nice to have them try something new. But this game was the start of something way worse for the series. The Paper Mario creators decided that they didn't want to go back to the original RPG gameplay style of the first two games, and they wanted to try something new after Super Paper Mario. I don't mind the idea of trying something new, except when the new idea is 1,000 times worse than Super Paper Mario. Oh yes, I'm talking about the fourth game in the series that started the downfall of this beloved franchise, and it still hasn't recovered. Paper Mario sticker star.
Bowser has flip-flops. This is not a good start. Who would throw a festival for frickin' stickers? For a Paper Mario game, there sure is a lot of toads and not a lot of interesting characters like Goombella, Vivian, Koops, Lady Bo, and the list goes on and on. I was gonna say something about the green toad being a jerk and not helping push, but then he gets squished by the ground and he got what he deserved. Alright, come on, Mario. Fall in, please! Fall in the frickin' fountain! Talk about a worn-down battle system. All I can do now is attack or run. You could do so much more in the older games, like swap partners, use a special, skip a turn, gain experience points for winning battles like a normal RPG does. And the fact that you lose stickers after one use sucks. It makes me not want to do any fights and just save up the stickers for bosses because there's no penalty for running from enemies.
The entire world has no resemblance to how the previous games were. Now I said that I liked brand new areas in the previous games, but that's not what I'm complaining about here. What I mean is that the game has a world map similarly to the old 2D Mario games. I get that this was to fit with the style of the game on the 3DS because the game can only have so much content while still fitting on the system. But what I loved about the previous games is the exploration between areas and how they transition together so well. This game is just going from level to level with no real cohesive connection between them. And honestly, we should have seen this coming. Each game seems to get less and less connected up until this point. Everything in the original fits so well with unlocking new paths along the way. Thousand Year Door does that too, but you can't deny that just finding random sewer pipes to get to the next world isn't nearly as satisfying as the first game. Although that is better than Super Paper Mario, where all the worlds are available in the same place through doors, but hey, at least there's a hub world and flip side. And then we got Sticker Star. There's no hub world and it's just a fucking map. I don't know if they got lazier and lazier, but this is ridiculous. And the levels in this game are so basic and have no emotion or uniqueness to them. They just look like cardboard versions of old 2D Mario levels. That is not what Paper Mario is. Paper Mario is taking a normal character, giving them characteristics that make them relatable and enjoyable, then building a city or landscape that makes sense for them. This is just creating a platformer and throwing random enemies in the way. That works for a 3D game like Super Mario 64, but not for an RPG like this game. This game decided to return to the turn-based battling style, which sounds great in theory, but it's not what you would expect. Instead of equipping badges to use or just using normal jump or hammer attacks, you are only able to attack with stickers that you have on hand. Once you use one of your stickers, you lose it and you now have an extra space to pick up a new sticker from the overworld. I know that I have said before that I don't mind this gameplay style in Color Splash as they are very similar, but the paint aspect is what really makes me not hate it in that game. In Sticker Star, there is no paint. There is no redeeming factor. That argument probably sounds really stupid, but it honestly makes it somewhat more enjoyable to me. The badges that you could equip in the old games added a huge sense of strategy to how you played and for each specific battle. Some attacks were better against certain enemies, and certain badges were better to protect you from certain attacks as well. Sticker Star just gives you some different jump and hammer attacks, and that's basically it.
But in this game, every goddamn attack is expendable, meaning if I don't have at least one sticker on me, I can't do shit in combat. And okay, that's rare, right? You kind of get stickers up the wazoo in this game, I get that, but why the fuck do I need a sticker in order to jump? Especially when I can do that in regular play! And this wouldn't be that big of a deal if the combat weren't turn-based like a traditional RPG, because sometimes you run out of the thing you need in order to actually fight, meaning that you're stuck with stickers that are useless that you have to waste anyway, and because they're individual stickers, it's not like you can use them whenever you have an external resource available to you like you would with, say, magic. There's hardly any management with stickers because once you use one, it's gone. You can't replenish your sticker count the way you would with abilities, really limiting what you can do in the main combat system. And speaking of limiting, you can't choose who you're going to attack. If you use a sticker, you attack the enemy closest to you. If you use more stickers, the game selects the next enemy in line to attack. While this can be strategized around, it feels like an unnecessary way of limiting what I can do further for a system that already limits how I can attack in the first place. And let's say you don't want to deal with all that boosh, right? You know how annoying it is in the Pokemon games when you can't flee from a battle even though you know you're probably going to lose or just don't want to fight? Yeah, imagine having to take 3 to 4 seconds each time you try to run away, only to find out that you can't for whatever arbitrary reason. And see, that's the thing. I have very little reason to actually stick around and fight. You would think that because it's a turn-based RPG that there's a leveling system, right? I mean, hell, even Super Paper Mario had a level-up system. You don't even get experience for winning a fight in this game. You don't need it, because the battle stickers all do a set amount of damage, meaning that there's not really a sense of progression. You don't get stronger, you just get more stickers. And whenever the game says it's time to, better stickers. Which aren't really worth the risk of experimenting with because you don't know if they're rare or not. And that's where the worth of fighting comes in. Battles are only worth it for the coins, sometimes the stickers, but you'll usually get more stickers by traversing the level anyway. What do you need the coins for? To buy more goddamn stickers, and that's it. Well, why would I want to do that? You just said that we'll find them throughout the level anyway, and you're right. Unfortunately for you, there are these things in the game called things, which is the laziest name for any item in an RPG I've ever heard. But things are interesting because they will make or break this fucking game. Things can be found in sometimes secret, sometimes open areas of the game that you can collect and then turn into, you guessed it, stickers to later be used in combat. The catch is, you can only have one unique thing at a time, and Things are either super useful in battle or on the overworld because, get this, stickers aren't just used in battle. Sometimes there are specific stickers that you have to use in order to progress, kind of like puzzles, except most of the puzzle pieces are the same goddamn size and shape, and only one of them is the solution. And if you're wrong, you lose that puzzle piece and need to either backtrack and find the cardboard that made the puzzle piece and then backtrack further to the one place you can turn that cardboard into a puzzle piece again, or pay a lot of money in order to not do that. Both options are a waste of time, but at least one's a little faster. And here is the absolute worst part of things. They are not made equal. Some things turn into huge stickers, taking up half a page in your album, so that design choice that already limits my combat abilities, yeah, that's limited by inventory space too, which only expands after you beat a boss. But some things turn into slightly smaller stickers, meaning that they're less important than the bigger ones. Here's the thing, no pun intended, you will not know what thing you need in either a boss fight or puzzle until you need it, so you most likely won't even have the damn thing in your inventory. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but they purposefully made it so that your key items are also your special attacks, which sounds cool until you realize that you can waste your key items. Jesus H. Roosevelt, Christ, I haven't even gotten to the story! Now, you can't, and I cannot stress this enough, cannot beat Gooper Blooper without the sponge thing, which is really easy to miss in World 3.9 because it's covered in poison and kind of just blends in with the background. If you do not have the sponge thing, you will get poisoned and will be lucky to ever hit the boss, in addition to losing HP every turn. The only way I can see someone defeating Gooper Blooper without the sponge and avoiding getting poisoned is use leaf stickers to perfectly block the poison each time he spits it at you. But here's the catch. The sponge not only protects you from the poison, but also spits the poison back out at the boss, which is what the boss is weak to. F any strategy you might have had. It doesn't matter how you want to play because there is an answer to this fight. This isn't something that helps. This is the way the developers want you to do it. No skill, no sticker management, just have the right sticker. And use it when you're supposed to because God forbid you use the sponge too early because then you might as well not have picked up the sponge at all. I had to take a break from this game after this fight. I feel like I need to take a break from this video. Like, you could say it's not that deep, it's not that big a deal, but this shit piles up. It's not isolated incidents that teach you to be prepared. I never know what I'm going to need going into a level or a boss fight. This game doesn't make me feel smart for figuring out how to beat a boss or how to solve a puzzle. It creates a system where it has no rules and yet somehow manages to break them anyway. I hate this game, man.
Why couldn't they go back to the original battling? Why can't Sticker Star do anything right? This game is trash. Fuck you. It makes me so sad to see how far Paper Mario has fallen off from how amazing the first two games were. I've reached the point where I don't even know if I want a new Paper Mario game to be announced because I'm scared this might happen again. Color Splash was a step in the right direction, but since Sticker Star drugged the series into a 100-foot ditch covered by dirt on an island in the middle of the ocean, it's gonna take more than one step in the right direction to get out of the shithole that Sticker Star created. And somehow, this game is still sold for like $40. And if that isn't the biggest ripoff I've ever seen, then I don't know what is. Okay, that might be worse.